Welcome to the Technological Forces presentation from RuPearl Cycle Company. For this presentation, each team member will analyze a different technological force, and within each section, we'll walk through how the simulation simplified that force and how it can be leveraged and recommended strategies. My name is Charles, and today I'm presenting artificial intelligence and demand forecasting. Specifically, how this technological force shapes the real-world marketing decisions and how our bike simulation gave us only a simplified version of it. AI demand forecasting uses machine learning and historical data to predict what customers will want, when they'll want it, and how much inventory and staffing is needed to meet that demand. Companies using tools like Salesforce Einstein or SAP do this continuously, not once a quarter. This force converts reactive decision-making into proactive strategy. The simulation gave us a much simpler version, and that's what we want to unpack. In the simulation, demand projections came as static quarterly snapshots. In Q8, we found that increasing our sales force from 238 to 315 people drove projected demand from 21,000 units to 31,500, a nearly 50% growth. But that connection was manual. A real AI system would have modeled that relationship continuously and recommended optimal staffing quarters in advance. Likewise, our performance shows revenue climbing to over 21 million by Q8, with operating expenses hitting 7.4 million. But there was no automated alert that our cost structure was outpacing revenue growth. AI forecasting would have surfaced that imbalance in real time well before it appeared in a quarterly report. So how could AI forecasting help us? Well, in three ways. First is staffing. We deployed people across 5 global regions with salaries costing ranging from 8,300 in Bangalore to 33,280 in New York. AI could have optimized those hiring decisions by factoring in demand projections and salary ROI upfront. Second is segment alignment. The Kiddo brand showed projected demand of nearly 3,800 units, yet youth staffing was capped at only 1 or 2 people per city. AI would have flagged that gap immediately. Third is advertising. We grew ad spend from 17K in Q3 to over 3 million by Q8 with no attributable model to validate what was actually working. AI would have done that automatically. So our 3 recommended strategies. First is to implement AI demand sensing tools using SAP or Oracle to generate a rolling 90-day forecast by segment, eliminating our dependence on quarterly snapshots. Second would be to deploy a dynamic Salesforce allocation modeling so AI calculates optimal hires per city based on projected demand. Our simulation showed us demand per salesperson improving from 88 to 100 when we scaled up, exactly the signal AI catches early. Third, adopt automated promotional budget optimization so that our 3 million in advertising is continuously reallocated to where it drives the most demand. Together, these strategies close the gap between a simplified simulation and real-world AI-driven marketing.
Hi, my name is Tiffany, and another technological force is e-commerce and digital retail. Today, businesses are increasingly relying on online platforms and digital tools to compete, allowing them to reach customers faster and respond more directly to changes in demand. E-commerce and digital retail refer to the use of online platforms and digital tools to sell products and interact with customers. This includes everything from browsing products on a website to receiving post-sale support. Some key concepts are omni-channel marketing, which integrates online and offline experiences so customers can move seamlessly between them. Second is user experience, which focuses on how easy and enjoyable it is to navigate a website or app. And third is the customer journey, from the experience of discovering a product to deciding whether to buy the product to customer loyalty or desire to repurchase. This matters because companies rely heavily on digital platforms to reach customers globally, personalize shopping experiences, and adjust pricing in real time. In the simulation, e-commerce was simplified with most decisions focused on physical stores rather than digital channels. For example, we had very limited control over design and user experience. Pricing and marketing decisions were fixed per quarter, so we couldn't adjust in real time. Also, there were no reviews or ratings that typically influence purchasing behavior. In reality, companies constantly adapt to changing consumer behavior. Companies adjust prices frequently and rely heavily on customer reviews and personalization algorithms. A real-world example would be how companies track website activity like click-through rates and browsing behavior to optimize product listings, pricings, and promotions. Because the simulation removed these dynamic elements, our decisions were more static and less responsive compared to real-world digital retail environments. There are a few areas to leverage this force. First, we could have allocated our budget on social media platforms more effectively, like shifting spending toward those high-performing brands instead of distributing them evenly. In the real world, companies continuously personalize marketing based on customer behavior. They use tools like A/B testing to experiment with ads and pricing, allowing them to quickly optimize performance. In the simulation, there were no online stores, so we couldn't manage a digital storefront experience to influence customer decisions. We also had no control over tools like websites or video content, which are key areas companies use to build brand image. Also, marketing decisions such as SEM spending were fixed. A disadvantage was we overspent on SEM to be competitive. The key takeaway is that digital channels require real-time adjustments. Companies need to constantly adapt to changing detail, and the simulation did not fully capture that flexibility. There are a few alternative strategies that could have improved our performance. First is selective distribution. Instead of focusing heavily on physical stores, we could prioritize online sales channels to reduce costs by eliminating underperforming locations. Second is an omni-channel approach, which creates an experience across digital and physical platforms, improving convenience and customer satisfaction. And the third strategy is using augmented reality, such as a try before you buy feature. This would allow customers to visualize products digitally. Customers can see the size, style, and fit in real environments, making online shopping more interactive and engaging. So overall, companies that leverage similar strategies result in stronger sales performance, better customer targeting, and a more sustained competitive advantage.
Hi, my name is Kyle, and today I'll be discussing the world of competitive intelligence technology, an essential tool for corporations aiming to stay ahead in today's fast-paced market. The key here is understanding how real-world corporations use these tools not only to observe, but to anticipate and react swiftly to competitors' moves. This proactive approach is crucial for maintaining a competitive edge. Competitive intelligence involves using technology to monitor competitor pricing, promotions, and market positioning in real time. This capability allows businesses to make faster, more informed decisions, helping them maintain a competitive edge and reduce the risk of losing market share. Now let's highlight why this is crucial. One, real-time pricing visibility. Imagine being able to adjust your prices as soon as a competitor changes theirs. Two, promotion tracking. Stay on top of what your competitors are offering and how they're positioning themselves. And three, market trend monitoring. Identify and respond to shifts in the market as they happen. Key tools that facilitate these insights include price tracking software, AI-driven analytics platforms, and web scraping tools. These technologies provide the necessary data to keep your strategies agile and your business thriving. Next, I want to discuss the key differences between the simulation and real-world competitive intelligence practices. In the marketplace simulation, competitor data was updated only at set intervals. This meant we didn't have real-time pricing visibility or the ability to track promotions effectively. Our insights into competitor strategies were limited, which impacted our agility in the market. Contrast this with the real-world scenario for a bike retailer. They would monitor competitor pricing daily and adjust their promotions immediately to remain competitive. This continuous monitoring enables instant pricing updates and rapid responses to market changes. Driven by AI alerts and insights, the key insight here is that with real-time competitive intelligence, our actions would be much more proactive. We would have adjusted pricing and promotions far faster rather than waiting to react on a quarterly basis. Now let's delve into how we could have harnessed data more effectively. Imagine if we had adjusted our pricing based on competitor movements or timed our promotions more strategically. Such actions could have been game changers. In the simulation, we noticed our pricing decisions were set in stone each quarter. We lacked the visibility into how competitors reacted, missing chances to pivot swiftly in response to market shifts. In the real world, companies employ competitive intelligence tools like PriceSync or Comptera. These tools empower them to monitor daily pricing and adapt their strategies instantly. This proactive approach, rather than reactive one, is crucial. The key takeaway here is that real-time competitive insights enable companies to act proactively, staying ahead of the curve and not just playing catch-up. Finally, let's discuss some innovative marketing strategies that could have given our business a more competitive edge. First, let's discuss dynamic pricing. This strategy allows us to adjust prices in real time based on our competitors' actions. Imagine being able to offer the best price the moment a competitor makes a move. Next is competitive positioning. Here, the focus is on differentiating our products rather than just competing on price. Think about what unique value we offer that sets us apart from others. Finally, we have real-time promotion optimization. This involves launching and adjusting promotions in response to competitor activity. It's about being agile and responsive to maintain our market position. In closing, by actively monitoring our competitors, we can maintain a critical advantage in fast-moving markets.
Hey everyone, I'm Thea, and I'll be covering supply chain and manufacturing technology as part of our technological forces analysis. My force, my focus is on how operational technology, things like production, inventory, and logistics, directly impacts marketing performance in the real world. And as a finance professional, I like this focus because it's where a lot of the cost and operational risk sits, so it directly impacts margins and overall performance. Similar to what you've seen in other sections, the key idea here is that the simulation oversimplified this force. The simplification made our decision easier, but it also removed a lot of the real world constraints that a company like ours would actually face. I'll walk through the force. I'll walk through what this force looks like in practice, how it was simplified in the simulation, and what strategies we could use in the real world to manage it more effectively. At the foundation, supply chain and manufacturing technology refers to systems that allow a company to produce, manage, and deliver products efficiently. This includes demand forecasting, production automation, real-time inventory tracking, and logistics optimization. In the real world, companies like Amazon or Nike rely heavily on these tools to reduce costs, improve delivery speed, and ensure products are available when customers are ready to buy. And this is where it directly connects to marketing because pricing, promotions, and customer satisfaction all depend on whether a company can actually meet demand. The important point here is that the simulation removed a lot of this complexity, which made our decisions easier, but also less realistic. In the simulation, we were operating in a world where production was essentially unlimited. There were no inventory shortages, no shipping delays, and no real cost fluctuations. Demand was always fulfilled. In contrast, our company in the real world would face constant constraints, supplier delays, limited production capacity, and logistics challenges that affect both costs and delivery timelines. Increases in real world demand are not automatically met. In our case, we were able to increase demand through pricing and promotion without ever considering whether we could actually produce or deliver the bikes. In the real world, this is where supply chain technology becomes critical. A bike company would need to adjust production schedules, coordinate with suppliers, and manage logistics to support demand. Without having the right forecasting, production capacity, or logistic tools in place, a marketing strategy doesn't always translate into revenue. It can create operational problems. This is really where operations and marketing intersect. The key insight here is that if supply chain constraints were included, we would have to balance demand generation with operational capacity instead of simply maximizing demand. When companies leverage supply chain technology effectively, it creates a direct advantage in marketing performance. One area in production alignment is production alignment, ensuring manufacturing capacity matches the demand generated by marketing campaigns. Another is cost optimization. With automation and efficient logistics, a real-world company can lower unit costs, enabling a more competitive pricing strategy. And third is inventory and fulfillment efficiency. Real-time inventory systems help ensure the right products are available in the right locations, especially where demand is highest. In the simulation, we increased demand through pricing and promotions, but we never had to adjust production or inventory to support our growth. In reality, companies use systems like SAP or Oracle to connect operations to marketing decisions in real time. The takeaway is that supply chain technology is what allows marketing strategies to scale successfully, turning demand into revenue. To manage this force effectively, companies like ours can focus on a few key strategies. First, integrating demand forecasting into decision making helps align production with expected demand, avoiding stockouts or overproduction. Second is building flexible manufacturing capacity, allowing production to scale up or down in response to demand. Third is implementing real-time inventory visibility so companies always know what's available and where. And as a bonus, fourth is diversifying suppliers and logistics partners to reduce the risk of disruptions. Overall, the main takeaway is that companies that treat supply chain technology as a strategic driver, not just an operational function, are much better positioned to execute their marketing strategies. Because at the end of the day, generating demand is only valuable if a company can actually fulfill it.
Hi everyone, my name is Jamila and I'll be presenting on digital marketing and target advertisement as a technological force. Building on how technology improves operations, I'll focus on how it transforms marketing through digital marketing and targeted advertisement. So to start, let's look at what digital marketing and target advertisement means. Digital marketing focuses on reaching customers through online channels such as social media, websites, and search engines. Within that, target advertisement uses data to reach the right audience, those most likely to respond. Overall, this helps reduce wasted ad spend, improve efficiency, and increase conversions. Now that we understand the concept, we can look at how the simulation simplifies it. In the simulation, we worked with structured data like brand judgment scores and sales report, but we only received results at the beginning of the next quarter. Because of that, we didn't immediately know what was working or adjust our decisions in real time. In contrast, companies in the real world have continuous data, which allows them to adjust their strategies instantly. Overall, this limited our ability to make fully data-driven targeted decisions quickly. The limitation wasn't access to data, it was timing and our ability to act on it. And we can see this clearly on our team performance. In the early stages, we had strong planning, but our strategy was more conservative. In quarter three, our performance was low due to weak alignment between our brands, advertisement, and customers' expectations, as shown by low judgment scores. In response, we became more aggressive to stay competitive. We had access to data, but had to wait for results, making it difficult to know what was working right away. We looked at competitors to understand what was working. However, over time, some decisions were influenced more by competitors than our own data. This led to inefficiencies, especially SEM spending, where we increased spending to stay more competitive, but later reduced it after recognizing diminishing returns. We also missed opportunities like prioritizing our youth segments earlier. Overall, in the real world setting, real-time data would have allowed us to make these adjustments earlier and more efficiently. Based on this, we can identify a few key strategies companies use. First, decisions should be fully data-driven, using performance matrix instead of reacting to competitors. Second, companies should focus on high-performing segments and tailor their messaging accordingly. Third, companies should continuously optimize campaigns so they can adjust quickly instead of waiting for delayed results. Overall, companies that use targeted advertisements don't just spend more, they spend smarter.
Hello, my name is Alicia, and I'll be discussing this consumer data and analytics as a technological force and how it shapes marketing decisions. I'll focus on how this force operates in the real world compared to how it was simplified in our simulation. Some things you're going to hear repeated, as my team has already stated, and then I'll walk through how our team used that data, where we fell short, and what we would do differently to improve performance using more advanced analytics. To start, I want to ground us in what consumer data and analytics is. It refers to the collection and use of customer behavior data to guide marketing decisions, including predictive analytics, real-time tracking, and demand forecasting. As stated earlier, in the real world, companies like Amazon and Nike, they use this data to adjust pricing, promotions, and inventory all in real time. This allows companies to be more proactive instead of reactive. However, in our simulation, this level of insight was not available until after quarterly decisions were submitted, which significantly impacted how we made decisions. And that leads into one of the biggest limitations we faced. In the simulation, we worked with structured data fixed intervals, like brand judgment scores and sales reports. In contrast, real-world companies use continuous data streams across multiple channels, allowing real-time adjustments. A strong example is in the use segment. We saw early indicators it was performing well, but because we reviewed data periodically, we didn't shift strategy fast enough. We had real-time analytics. If we had it, we would have likely have prioritized that segment earlier instead of operating a quarter behind. So the question becomes, how could we use that data more effectively? There were areas where we used that effectively, such as analyzing search trends and aligning our digital presence with demand. However, we could have leveraged data more strategically. For example, reallocating resources earlier to the high performing segments like the youth and aligning marketing spend with ROI instead of reacting to competitors, which, as you heard before, is what we did. In the real world, companies use dashboards to continuously track performance and make these adjustments in real time. So the key takeaway is data is only valuable if it's used quickly and strategically. To improve marketing effectiveness, we would implement three strategies. First, we would shift our ROI-based decision making so spending is driven on performance. We would create segment-specific dashboards to enable faster adjustments. And then third, implementing that A/B testing that Tiffany spoke about earlier. It's really testing different promotions or messaging and scaling what performs the best. Ultimately, the difference between average and high-performing companies isn't access to data, it's how quickly they turn that data into action. Team RuPearl simulation experience reinforced a key takeaway. The most meaningful learning comes from navigating the space between structured frameworks and real-world complexity. Examining the six technological forces highlighted the demand placed on today's marketers, balancing evolving technology, data intensity, and competitive pressures. These insights strengthen our strategic approach and will support more confident, data driven decision making going forward. Thank you.